Hey, welcome back. We're talking about The King of Scars. So I finished this. It took me a lot longer than I expected it to, but I had to go on like a work trip. So I'm going to blame the work trip. But I finally finished King of Scars. I did the first little bit of this I did on a reading vlog, and I had like my initial thoughts. And then I was out of town when I finished it, so you're getting a wrap-up video instead. So my initial thoughts for King of Scars was that it was really good. I was actually kind of surprised, because I wasn't really sure where the plot was going with this one, because at the end of Crooked Kingdom and the original trilogy, there wasn't an obvious continuation of the plot, other than like the characters' individual stories. So I wasn't entirely sure where it was going. So I do kind of liked that she, in this one, continued the intrigue of the political stuff. It was very loosely touched on in the original trilogy that, like, they were kind of low-key at war with a bunch of other countries, but it wasn't really the primary focus. And so, like, it kind of fell into the background, at least it did for me. So I was kind of excited to see this book pick up on that and turn this into basically a new fledgling kingdom trying to, like, stay alive. So I appreciate that, and I liked it. My initial overall thoughts were I do think the characterizations were better for these guys. I still really like Nikolai and Zoya. Still really like them together. They still have not gotten their shit together. So that is one thing from the vlog that I called correctly. The other thing from the vlog that I called correctly, the whole shadow thing that was hanging out inside Nikolai. I was right. It's totally a reincarnation of the Darkling. I did not, however, anticipate how that was going to go down. Yeah, that I didn't see coming at all. So that was kind of interesting. I did think that, like, them just having his body there was a little bit of a cop-out, but whatever. Overall, I really did enjoy this book. I really liked the story of Nina, and her, like, striking off on her own. I really liked her and her kind of weird, undefined magic with the dead. Like, I'm still not entirely sure why she was able to communicate with the dead. It wasn't really fully explained how her magic works, but since she doesn't also know how her magic works, like, this magic is so new, I was willing to buy it, that, like, nobody knows what the fuck's going on with her magic, so that's why I was kind of like, okay, it can do weird stuff. I also liked Zoya's growth that she had with, the dragon guy. I don't know what the saint's name was. I didn't pay attention to any of the saints' names. The dragon guy. That was kind of cool, and how they have no idea how their magic works at all. Like, they've got it wrong. So that was kind of a cool, like, little side thingy. I wish there had been more with that, though. Like, I feel like there was a missed opportunity of world building to explain how their magic worked in more detail with Zoya's lessons with the dragon guy. Like, that would have been so cool to really understand how much they don't understand about their own magic, rather than her just kind of, like, figuring it out in the background. I'm really excited. I am also, I swear to God, if Zoya doesn't turn into a dragon in the next book, I'm going to rebel or revolt or boycott or something, because that was so perfectly set up for her to turn into a dragon in the next one. She's got little eyes and everything. Anyway. And then Nikolai, I kind of, poor boy got broken a bit. I do like that he kind of had this, like, flirt boy kind of attitude throughout most of the book, where he's just like, meh, yeah, it'll work out, it's fine. And then at the end, he's like, no, I'm done playing. And he makes a bunch of hard decisions right away that I was not happy with, because I want him to be with Zoya, but it's fine. There's still room in the next book. There was one thing that really bugged me about this book, and it's ultimately what had me knocking it from a 5 to a 4. Because I'm pretty generous with my ratings. Like, it's got to be pretty bad for me to rank it lower than a 4. Because ultimately, if a book is able to keep me entertained and sweep me away at least moderately, then I'm going to call it a good book. It did its job. But there was one thing that just bothered the crap out of me. And it happened most with Nina's character. And it was the amount of times she would be injured. Like, not like, oh, I got a hangnail injured, but like, hey, a wolf bit my arm during a snow blizzard storm thing, and that it just, outside of the actual event of her getting bit by a wolf, it like is never addressed again, except for much later for them to be like, oh, you got bit by a wolf, here, let me stitch that up, and then never again really talking about it. Or like she falls out of a first story window, which I understand is not a big drop, but it's a big enough drop that you're gonna hurt. She even mentions how like she landed and she was trying to ignore the pain in her ribs, and then that's it, like nothing again. Like she just balls to the walls, runs away, and it's completely fine that she fell out of a factory window. It just bugged me how she kept getting injured and then she was not injured. The lack of realism with her injuries drove me insane. And every single time I'd be like, wait, didn't she just almost die of hypothermia? We're just not going to talk about that? Oh, okay. Oh, wait, didn't a wolf just like maul her arm? We're not going to talk. Oh, okay. We're not going to, because we're not talking about these things anymore. I don't know. It bothered me and it drove me insane. And it jarred me enough that it pulled me out. And it just felt like lazy writing. Like that would have been something so easy to address. At least a little bit more than she did. Like she tried with the wolf bite, how they're like, oh, we're just going to stitch your arm up. It's fine. But I don't know if you've ever seen a dog bite or a wolf bite when they're trying to get you. Like they're not just biting and latching on. They're pulling, they're thrashing, they're biting, and then they're reattaching. Like they're not just going to be like 4 little holes and it's going to be happy. You're going to have like huge injuries from that. Especially a wolf, a rabid wolf. Like canines, when canines attach, sometimes, depending on how the dog behaves, will just attach the one time and just lock down and drag. And so then you'll usually get a couple clean puncture wounds and not much else. But a rabid wolf who's trying to eat you for dinner, it's not just going to attach and then hang out. It's going to reattach and gnaw at you. It's not going to be a clean wound that you can just be like, I'm just going to stitch it up and it's fine, and then never addressed again for the entire book. Anyway, sorry. It bothered me. There's also a significant amount, not a significant, that's a harsh word. There were a lot of just like typos. Like a couple dropped periods, a couple tense changes. And it very easily could have been something that was just missed by the line edit before it went to print. And so it didn't affect my rating, but it did bother me. But since my own book has stuff like that was missed by the editor before it went to print, I can't be too harsh. But they were there and I noticed them, but it's fine. Yeah, overall though, I really did enjoy this book. I did think it was weird that the Saints all of a sudden were just like, hey, we're here, we're a thing, but I'm okay with it. I feel like she did it in such a way that everybody was like, holy shit, they're a thing, that it worked. I really hope Zoya and Nikolai get their shit together, but now that she's basically immortal, that's going to be sad. And he's still got the thingy in him, the whisper of the ghost of the shadow of the whatever thing. DarklingJr. Let's call it DarklingJr. He still has DarklingJr. hanging out around his heart because that entire trip did not work at all. It was a bad idea. So I'm kind of excited to see how that plays out, especially since the Darkling's also now back. Legitimately did not see that coming. I was able to call most of the other big twists in here, but the Darkling popping up in the little monk's body, that was a good play. Good on you. So I'm excited to see what the next one brings. I've ordered the next one, but I don't know when I'm going to get it because this is paperback. And I refuse to buy the hardcover because then my set won't match. And so I am waiting indefinitely for Book Depository to send me the paperback version of whatever the hell the next one's called. Because they were the only distributor that had it in the paperback in the paperback edition. And I am that anal. So if anybody knows where else I can buy a paperback copy, let me know. Because nobody else had one. Or if they did, it was like 3 times the cost. But yeah, I refuse to buy the hardcover because my entire Grisha verse is the paperback. So I can't throw a hardcover in there. It'll make my OCD trip out. So I am waiting Not patiently, but waiting. I want to hear what your thoughts on this were. Because I feel like it, in general, felt like a very different book from... It felt a little bit similar to Crooked Kingdom and The Six of Crows, like tone and the writing. I mean, because you could tell that this one came out closer to Crooked Kingdom than it did to Shadow and Bone. This one felt a lot more steampunky, though. I've always argued to myself that this is a steampunk book because it's like a Russian medieval book, but with firearms and magic, and so in my head this feels like steampunk, especially with Nikolai's flying contraptions of weirdness. So this one definitely felt way more steampunky with his weird underground lake of David's paradise. But yeah, I did like them. The writing is still getting better. You can tell that she's improving. I am excited to see where the next one goes. Let me know what your thoughts are on the series in general. I don't know. Whatever you want. Let me know. About anything. Yeah. We'll see you guys on the next one.